Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jerry Sansing with another edition of What's Going On in Corpus Christi. This is September 23rd on a beautiful Sunday. It finished raining finally, and I'll discuss Lake Delmar in just a minute. But anyway, this airs on Tuesday at 8:30 p.m., Wednesday at 8:30 p.m., and then there's my email address, gsansing@gmail.com. And my producer is Dr. Janelle Bennett. Now, if you would please, if you've got any questions or comments or whatever, then go ahead and use that email address. It's gsansing@gmail.com. And I'm going to discuss a few things this evening, and I'll be right back. All right, lights are on, camera's rolling. I'm going to go take my seat, and we'll have a discussion about things. And the one-man show, as I keep saying, as I go around here. It's easier on me and everybody else to do that, and then I don't involve a lot of people that don't necessarily want to be as blunt as I am about things. So, welcome to the South Texas News and Reviews, and I'm going to go ahead and turn this over. There we go, and figure out what I'm going to do. I'd like to direct your attention to these beautiful yellow roses. Those are in dedication of my mother, Miss Connie, my deceased wife, Miss Lynn, and my good friend, April 23. And if I have a second, I'll tell you about one of the adventures she's on. But anyway, I just want to start by saying this is the Taxpayers Association show for all practical purposes. I am the president of the Taxpayers Association. My vice president is Mr. Jack Gordy. A lot of you know him. He's been with taxpayers longer than I have, and he's done an awful lot. He and Joe O'Brien and a lot of people around here, Taxpayers Association members, have got a lot of things done. So I'm going to try to hold up that good job that they've been doing. Now, one thing that has bothered me, and this really bothers Jack Gordy, he's a retired Navy, and I was a service brat for the first 17 years of my life. It was Air Force, my dad was, and I grew up with a bunch of fighter pilots. He was one of the best, my dad, and that was quite a group. Now, I have a hang-up with people that disregard the flag. I won't go into that personally, but I do know that the post office manager of the Southside Station on 6742 Weber, the flag at night is flying there in the dark. And Mr. Gordy's been on them for quite some time, and nothing's been done. Also, I guess they've got some fairly large chug holes out there. I guess I'll take my camera out there and film that. I don't know what it takes to shame the post office into making sure that the flag is lit at night. And Jack has written them back on August the 3rd, and he's talked to that post office manager, and it is the United States Post Office. And like I say, it's the Southside Station, 6742 Weber, here in Corpus Christi, Texas. And he wrote him a letter once. He said, I brought the fact that the lights do not work that should shine on the United States flag at night at least 6 months ago to the manager's attention. Now, this is in August, so I guess that would have been back in, March, April. And so anyway, I don't know what to do with some of these clowns. And then he went on to say, how can you continue to allow the flag to be flown in the dark? To me, that is a disrespect to the flag that we should respect. Why don't you get the lights fixed or don't fly the flag at night? Respectfully, Jack Gordy. Okay? And then he's also been trying to get code enforcement to take care of the business around here, particularly on the 14 state highways in the Texas and the American Highway Beautification Act. And he's been hitting a dead end there. And I guess now he has TxDOT coming down. They're the ones that supervise these illegal signs. And I think Jack mentioned that they're coming down here soon, and that they did make a visit down here not long ago and found 900 and something illegal signs, and just on the 14 highways. Okay, so and I guess Corpus Christi's been in trouble with those people before by not doing things the proper way, and they don't care. And what we do is the big signs and so forth, advertising signs, then the city gets money for the display of those, and they don't want to keep it, I guess, because the state is pretty perturbed about it. Corpus Christi's been sanctioned before by them, so why lose that revenue, and why can't you get your butts out there and go ahead and take care of those signs, and then fine a few people. But what code enforcement says, unless they see a specific person putting a sign up, they can't fine them for that. Okay? Well, if the person's name is on it, like one of these political ads and so forth around town, or carpet cleaning and so forth and so on, they've got telephone numbers on them, most of them. Now the political signs don't. I think the politicians should put their telephone number or a contact number on their signs, so that if Taxpayers Association member or anyone wants to consult them about what they're proposing to do and what their political aspirations are and so forth, then they can do it. So, and I don't know. Now, another thing that's got me bothered is it seems like all of the taxing entities around here, the city, the county, Delmar, CCISD, and Lord knows who else, have increased the tax rates. So you people are going to pay dearly for this. Now, another thing that bothers me is this came out a while back. It says, issues with city's new software blamed for errors in the water bills. And Mark Van Vleck is the one that's in here, and he's been quoted. Now, I don't know, I've had problems with them. I had paid for $12.30 worth of water, and they charged me $127 for wastewater there for a while. Now, how in the world, are you getting those numbers, folks? So the water bills around here, utility bills, I don't know about the gas. I don't have gas in my house. But I do know the water. How in the world can you hold your head up and gouge people at that level? It's a ripoff, folks. And it's as far as I'm concerned, if it's not fixed pretty quick, it's going to be criminal. So, and then it says here, city considers a $96 million bond package to cover streets, shades, splash pads, and all the rest of this stuff. That's just what we need. If I knew that it was going to go to the streets and they were going to be taken care of after many, many years of neglect and defrayed maintenance, then, I'd be willing to bite the bullet. But my taxes are high enough as it goes. And then we've got utility bills going up almost $3 a month. And where does that money go? Okay? So I don't know how they're going to, I guess they passed it. But, it's a crime, folks. You're being ripped off here big time. And the only way you're going to get around that is to go figure out who's running for what city council spot and figure out what's going on. And then here's the notice that was in the paper of the 2008 tax year proposed property tax rate for the city of Corpus Christi. Okay? It says a tax rate of less than so per 100 valuation has been proposed for adoption by the governing body of the city of Corpus Christi. The rate exceeds the lower of the effective rollback rate. Okay? And, they can only raise it a certain amount or you can roll that thing back. But, and then they even tell you how you can calculate your property tax. I don't think I can count that high, folks. And this came from the Nueces tax assessor collector, Kevin Kishnick. Okay? I think they still do that. And it says you are urged to attend and express your views. Well, a lot of people have attended and expressed their views, and they just sit there like a bunch of bumps on a pickle and they don't respond. I guess it's against the rules if they do, except if somebody asks for specific information. But I know that Mr. Gordy has the time to go down there and do that. I've got classes, and I'm doing overloads at Delmar, and I've got Tuesday classes, so I can't get down there. And of course, they're not going to have anything in the evening to make it easy for you fine folks out there to go down and voice your opinion. So what do? They take it at noontime. And, not many people have got time over noon to do that. And then Corpus Christi residents set to pay more in property taxes. And then that residents will pay higher property taxes next year to fund residential street repairs approved by voters in a 2016 bond. The city will receive an increase of $7.7 million in property tax revenues next year. And then it goes on and on and on. Okay? And it says citizens will have one more chance to speak during public comment on the operating, police and fire budgets and the property tax review. And I guess firefighters had a meeting not long ago, and they invited some of the people that are running for city council and mayor and so forth and so on. And I guess one of the candidates, Ray Madrigal, the Pancho Villa or something, I don't know, some crazy stuff like that, was thrown out of the meeting, or they cut his mic off or something. I think that's pretty sad when you get there. And then on the 20th of this month, it says Corpus Christi Council okays $929 million budget and a tax increase. So they went ahead and increased your taxes. Bless their pea-picking hearts, okay? And all they're going to do is just charge you more money, and I'm sure the deferred maintenance option that they have will continue on. And that's what the D and M in Del Mar College means. The DMC is Deferred Maintenance College, and I'll talk about them in a minute. Voters are blessed with many choices. Rejoice, Corpus Christi voters, the system is working. For whatever motivation, civic mindedness, a single issue frustration with so-called status quo people who have never held public office have stepped up to run. This was on the 2nd of September. This was the opinion on the editorial in that day's papers, and it goes on down and talks about the number of people that are going to sign up. And then let's see, here it is. This one floored me. I didn't date this one, but it came out not too long ago. And it says candidates are in for city's mayoral seat. And then it says the filing period is thus and so. The 5 candidates who filed as of 3 p.m. Monday are Aislinn Campbell, Michael Hall, Ray Madrigal de Pancho Villa, previously listed as Ronaldo Madrigal, Joe McComb, and Dan McQueen. Okay, and that's what we need, is another round of bovine excrement. I'm trying to be civil about this, folks, from Mr. McQueen. He wasted a bunch of time and money. I wish he'd pay that, what was it, couple $100,000 it took to have another election for the mayor. And then we've got a person that I have met. I don't know her well, but I know that she's done a good job with the local, Grow Local South Texas, and I think that's the deal they have down there on Wednesdays, the farmers market and so forth and so on, and downtown farmers market. And that's Aislinn Campbell, and I met her at a Taxpayers Association meeting we had last month. Now, speaking of Taxpayers Association meeting, on October the 27th at 2 o'clock in the afternoon at the Silverado Smokehouse, and I think that's on Galahar and Weber, then if you go over there, we'll be meeting, and the public is totally invited. In fact, we've got, I think it's October 6th, it'd be the first Saturday in the month, we have a meeting of the board members, but anyone is welcome to go with that one too. And that's at 2 o'clock at the Small Planet Deli at Staples and Saratoga. So come on out. And then here's what we've got on the water bills again, okay? It says, here's what you should know about water bills. It says Corpus Christi is experiencing a torrent of complaints about its utility billing system. And there are 3 parts to the problem: software, humans, and a change in rate structure. Like I say, they were charging me through the nose, folks. This came out 2 days ago in the Caller Times, so you may want to go about that. And it says what the city knows, what staff does know is there is a glitch in the billing software. Okay, how your bill is calculated, it goes through that. I won't bore you with that one. The people behind the bill, the utility business office employees, 16 people with 3 supervisors and so forth, and problem with your bill, and it tells you who to call. So, you know, I just threw my hands up a long time ago. I can't believe that if I only used $12.30 worth of of water, it cost, and a lot of that, you know, I don't use much water, but then when I'm billed 120 some odd dollars for wastewater, then something stinks down there. And it says a plea for clean water or clear water bills. This was from Robert Ferguson. Dr. Ferguson is a retired Texas A&M University Corpus Christi president. He's a great man. He's an engineer. He's very, very up on things. And I've got the utmost respect for Dr. Ferguson. He did a fantastic job to get Corpus Christi, or Texas A&M Corpus Christi, going out there. And you know, it's quite a place. It's very, very good to have a good university like that right here in our hometown and within our borderline, our city limits. And it serves a lot of people around here. But what he's doing is he says, you know, he can't figure it out. And, you know, he just said, do we really want methodology, or do we really want our residents to turn their landscape into concrete and gravel pits? That means the people that have the landscape watering and so forth and so on. And then this one came back out, and back in July 22nd, this is another one that floored me. City streets are second best to drive, and it says headline on page 3A, July 14th of the Caller Times, Corpus Christi is nation's second best city for driving. If we're the second best, folks, then, you know, the rest of this country, bless their hearts, they're in deep trouble, because this is not a city that's easy to get around, and you've got all these morons out there speeding, and they tailgate and everything else under the sun. So, you know, I just wish that we had more of these unmarked cars around here and catch some of these clowns and clownettes that can't drive. And they don't really care. And then we've got the museum management. This one came back out in August. I think the Durrell family has given up the management of the museum. And now they're going to the city members on Tuesday, deferred action on an agreement for the management of the Corpus Christi Museum of Science and History. After listening to 9 people speak about the agreement, the council declined to authorize the contract. Instead, council members said they wanted more information from both sides of the aisle. Okay? And then, you know, we've lost one of our best city managers, as far as I'm concerned, and that was Mrs. Marjorie Rose, and she resigned. I'd still like to know the full story on that, of why they did this, but what they're going to do now is Lindsay Opal recommended increasing Selman's annual salary from $200,000 to $220,000 plus a $7,200 car allowance. This is the person that Ralph Anderson, I think is his name, and Ralph Anderson and associates to run it. And so anyway, I don't know what's going to happen with you know, with that thing. They're going to make a lot of money to search for a city manager. In Corpus Christi, air quality programs are in jeopardy. Apparently, the Corpus Christi's reputation as a sparkling city by the sea could be in jeopardy. This was by Tim Acosta with the Caller Times. This was back on the 12th of September. At least that's how air quality proponents see it. State legislatures are in the process of deciding whether to expand funding to an emissions reduction program that community leaders say is vital to ensuring the well-being of the citizens. Apparently, citizens in this town may be concerned about air quality, but I can guarantee you most of the elected officials and the hotshots, engineers and investors and stuff around here don't give a rip. I know I spent about 7 years trying to prevent Las Brisas Energy Center from coming in. I was the chair of the Clean Economy Coalition. We were the lead dogs in shutting that place down, and finally succeeded because I had a great number of good citizens around here, physicians and so forth and so on, as well as just our citizenry around here, fine residents and so forth, that said no way we're going to put up with that mess. So we don't have that pollution. Okay. However, it says here's Errol Summerlin. He's Mr. Summerlin's from Portland. He's is a member of the Portland Citizens United, and this is concerning the Exxon deal that's going in over there, okay, in Portland. And it says, Exxon, you're not listening to the residents of Portland and Texas. And I don't really think we need that over here, but it's big money. So I'm going to go ahead and contact Mr. Summerlin, and I hope he's watching this. I'm inundated with classes at Del Mar College. I do overloads to get our fine folks through, and the allied health professions, and the majors class goes to pharmacy majors and pre-med, pre-vet, pre-dent, biology majors of all types, and have them go on to graduate school. And I really, my time is stretched out, but this is important enough for me to jump back in there. And it's it says we don't know how much the Saudi royal family earned last year, but you reported 19.7 billion in earnings in 2017. This is Exxon. So why are you going to come over here and ruin our place for that? And then it's not enough shade at the bayfront. This was Alfred Gonzalez. This was back in August. And, that brings up the point that I was part of the Friends of the Coliseum and tried to save the Coliseum roof for shade over there. And now people are bemoaning that. So you can go thank Joe Adami and his crowd of city council people at the time for yanking that thing down. And I know some of the key players over there, the contractors and so forth, architects and stuff that were after a whole bunch of money, but everybody wanted to tear it down. Okay, so and then the 5 of us were sued by I'm not even gonna. The then Corpus Christi city attorney, okay, Carlos Valdez, and Lord knows he's running for a judgeship, and that I just can't fathom that one, folks. Okay, he lied about the contract that he says that we had broken with the city, or the demolition company had. And then it says city acts to increase its water supply, and now what they want to do is put in a desalination plant that can be a disaster if it's not done properly. And where are you going to put all that brine, folks? They're talking about these different harbors around here, and I think M&G had a permit to put one in. They're the ones that couldn't pay their bills, and we gave them tax abatements and everything else, so they went down there and screwed up part of the port. And so, happy days. Exxon Mobil is going to be the same problem over there in Portland. So, I feel sorry for the Portland residents, and that thing being that close to the schools over there, the public school. And all it takes is one accident, folks, one screw up, and it's all over with. And then everybody's going to say, oh, well, we're just so sorry. So I hope all the personal injury attorneys are paying attention. There's going to be a lot of money to be made by them before it's over with. Okay? It's just a matter of time. So we'll see what happens with that. And then here we go, proposed property tax rate for Nueces County. They've gone up on their tax rates. and they've had a lot of stuff around here lately. County adopts budget, tax rate hike, and hours of talks lead to a 1.3 cent increase. And here's Judge Lloyd Neal addressing the county, and they're going up with the budget, and they say they're going to have to take care of streets, and they've got a lot of problems around, and they can't comply with ADA. Corpus Christi won't, but the county says that they don't have the money to comply with that. So I'm going to make a call for all of you disabled people out there and say, if you want me to lead the band, I'll be glad to go over there. And I've been raising unmitigated hell along with Jack Gordy about the non-ADA compliance. And unfortunately, the Department of Justice, the Civil Rights Division, which ADA comes under, they're no help either. They say they don't have time to worry about that. Well, what are you being paid for, ladies and gentlemen? So I'm going to start writing the feds about that and raising unmitigated hell. I'll just have to do that in my spare time, which is pretty much non-existent. Nueces County's financial issues create concern. Yeah, they do. And what they've done is Standard & Poor's recently downgraded the county's credit rating from an AA+ to AA because it's slower than expected employment growth in the Corpus Christi metropolitan statistical area. Okay? Well, we're told that we're booming here, that there's another one here that says help wanted, but what kind matters, and this was in the Caller Times on the 16th of this month. Chris Ramirez and Julie Garcia. Take a quick search on a job site and you'll find there are nearly 3,000 available jobs in Corpus Christi. So I guess Standard & Poor's doesn't understand that, and we're not part of the county, I guess, is what that's all about. So, somebody's not exactly telling the truth. And then here's Mr. Nick Jimenez again. This was on the 16th last week. Caller Times, lack of political courage revealed. Budget meeting exposes hesitant commissioners. It says if Nueces County voters wanted to have an idea of what the next county judge faces, they only had to witness the train wreck of a commissioner's court meeting last week. Okay, and I guess they had some terse words with one another and so forth and so on, and they're trying to figure out the county's budget. So anyway, it's incredible. And then I guess the sale of the county courthouse, the old courthouse, I think it was 1914 vintage. That turning it into a Class A hotel was a bust. So, now they don't know what to do with it, and what they'll probably wind up doing is like they did with the architecturally significant roof on the Coliseum, Memorial Coliseum down there. Just tear it to the ground and forget it. The only problem that the county and the city is going to have with that is it's on the list of the historical sites. So hopefully, I'd rather see it just fall down into the dirt on the old age rather than have them go down there and tear it down and then build some other boondoggle down there. And it says it's back to square one for the old courthouse. That's when the people didn't pay the taxes on it that are owed. Okay, well, I'm just going to go ahead and call it a day with this show, and I'll go shut the camera down in a minute or so, and then I'll zero in on the beautiful yellow roses dedicated to Miss Connie, Miss Lynn, and Miss April 23. And I'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, I've only got about 45 seconds left. This is predominantly what the taxpayers have decided that they need to talk to on the air. And the next meeting is October the 6th, I think it is, that first Saturday in October at the Small Planet Delicatessen. That's at Staples in Saratoga. And then if we've got, if you can, on the 27th Saturday, it's the Silverado Smokehouse at 2 o'clock. And That's on October 27th. So I'm just going to let the flowers say good evening to you, and I appreciate you watching.